First, another school year is about to begin for Texas college and university students, and whether you know it or not, now all students under the age of 30 enrolling in any Texas college must have a meningitis booster or vaccination before the first semester. It is called the Jamie Shanbaum and Nicholas Williams Act, named after a University of Texas former student who survived her bout with meningitis but lost her fingers and legs to the infection, and this Texas A&M student, Nicholas Williams, who died of meningitis back in 2011. Joining us now to talk about this important issue, Greg Williams, who is Nicholas's father, and Anna Dragsback, who is president and CEO of the Immunization Partnership. And I want to thank you both for being here again with us as we get ready to start yet another semester here. I want to begin with you, though, Mr. Williams. And as you mentioned to me before, it's been about a year and a half now since you lost your son. Were you just stunned when you found out what happened? I mean, was this even something you knew was a possibility?
We were actually pretty devastated by the whole ordeal. We of course heard about meningitis, but we just didn't know the dramatic effects that it would have, and we did not know about the law that was in place at the time that protected all the students who lived in a dorm. But getting that phone call was very, very traumatic, and we just didn't have a clue.
And was it a matter of it being highly contagious? Because obviously he was a healthy young man.
He was very healthy, didn't have any problems whatsoever, but as I understand, it could happen to any student at any time. So whether he drank after someone or not, or whether somebody sneezed in his face, we just never knew what caused it.
And I know it is very important for you, Anna, that this law that already existed, that students in the dorm have to take it, be extended, because there's so many more students out there who could possibly be affected. Is that right?
That is absolutely right. It was not just college students in dormitories who could get the meningitis virus. It's basically anybody between the ages of 17 and 22. That's the peak of the age of infection. And so there is a recommendation now from the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices for 16-year-olds to have a booster dose to protect them during that vulnerable stage between 17 and 22. And this law helps to make sure that students have complied with that recommendation.
Now, what do people look for? What are some of the symptoms you should be especially alert to?
A stiff neck, sensitivity to light, a bad headache. It can start with flu-like symptoms, and oftentimes the symptoms will be misdiagnosed, and the doctor will think that someone has a case of the flu when really it's meningitis. So your best defense is to get immunized.
To get immunized first, and then if you should feel any of these symptoms, obviously to get to a doctor. And what do? Bring up the possibility of meningitis?
Absolutely. Get to your doctor as soon as possible, especially if you have any of those symptoms which are characteristic of meningococcal meningitis. There's also a characteristic rash that starts on your body and can spread very quickly. So if you have a combination of those symptoms, a stiff neck, a rash, a bad headache, sensitivity to light, you want to get to the ER as quickly as possible because minutes count.
Now, Mr. Williams, why was it so important to you? I mean, obviously your family was grieving so greatly for your son, but why was it so important to you that you get out there and advocate on behalf of other students?
Well, it was an opportunity and obligation really to inform the public and all parents, all students, that this is a real threat and it could happen to anybody at any time. And I just hope that the message gets across and that we get these students vaccinated, and so we won't have to suffer through another loss like I've done.
And did you and Jamie's mother get together? Is that how it happened, how it all came about?
Actually, I was contacted by Anna, and she put me in touch with Patsy Shanbaum, and we worked together to make it happen.
And you just saw this as a wonderful opportunity, I would imagine, Anna, to make sure, as he says, other parents did not have to go through this terrible nightmare.
Well, it demonstrates how dramatic meningitis is, and whenever you have a personal story, as tragic as it is, it also is an opportunity to highlight the importance of immunization.
So what do we want to tell students who are getting ready to go off to school and parents of students who are getting ready to go?
The important message is get immunized. It is a requirement for a reason, because it is, while it's a rare disease, it is incredibly devastating, as we've heard here today. And so it's really important that parents remind their college students as well, because we know that college students are not great about doing everything that's expected of them. So if the parents can just reinforce how important this is and that they need to get immunized before they set foot on that college campus.
And obviously they can always just get on the website and find out more about how to get those meningitis vaccinations.
Absolutely. There's information on our website, which is immunizeusa.org.
All right, and Mr. Williams, we can never say enough just how much we feel for you and your family and your great loss. But we so appreciate the fact that your heart was big enough to start looking out for other families out there. Thank you
so
again.
much.
And we appreciate both of you all being here again
Thank
today.
you.
Sure.
Well, America's Beth.
A father's crusade to save college students from the deadly illness that killed his son is now helping them save money. Fox 26's Chris